Good morning, children of God. I want to carefully explain these three things: a Hebrew, an Israelite, and a Jew. Because these three things, or rather, three names, used to confuse a lot of Christians. They don't get proper understanding about it. So I'm going to make it very clear for you to understand. So when you hear a Hebrew, you know who a Hebrew is. When you hear a Jew, you know who a Jew is. And when you hear an Israelite, you know who an Israelite actually is. They are, even though somehow they relate, but they are not entirely the same. So I'm going to explain. First, let's start with the first word, the Hebrew. Now, who is a Hebrew? Then the Hebrews are rather the people that God called. They are people that earned their place out of obedience. Out of obedience. It's not a tribe. It's not a birthplace. It's not a birth name. It's not a city where you say this one is Lagos, this one is Abuja. No, they are actually people from different places leaving their place just to answer the call of God and leaving their original habitation to a new place. That migration out of faith in God makes them Hebrew. Just like Abraham left his home completely without knowing where he was going, just because God said go. And that movement of a people into another place with faith in God, those are the Hebrews. That's how the Hebrew word came to play. And that's why Abraham is a Hebrew. Then this same Abraham gave birth to Isaac, and Isaac gave birth to Jacob. Now Jacob became Israel. God renamed him Israel. Why? Because Israel simply means one who fought with God and prevailed. So Jacob wrestled with God and prevailed. Then his name was changed from Israel, from Jacob to Israel. So that was how the name came about. Then moving forward, Jacob now have 12 sons, the 12 sons of Jacob. Of course, you must have heard the 12 sons of Jacob. Inside the 12 sons, there are too many of them. You have Reubenite, you have Judah, and the rest. So what now happened inside the 12 sons? 10, that 12 sons became 12 tribes. It became 12 tribes in Israel. Yes, because Jacob became Israel. So it became 12 tribes in Israel. The 12 sons of Jacob are the Israelites. So they are the ones that made up the Israelite. Now, out of the 12 sons of Jacob, 10 of them became a different nation. Why two became a different nation? And these two happens to be Judah and I think Reuben also. They became the Jews. The other 10 became a different nation. And inside these two, what we are left with them, because they separated, these two now are already, they were the one that inherited this Jerusalem, the temple of Jerusalem, the temple of the living God. They were the ones that inherited that temple. So now, these 10 that went their separate place, of course, they gave themselves into sin and other sort of abominable things that does not please God. So God have to turn his back on them. They were, of course, defeated against the Philippines when they fought the Philippines. They were stripped of everything they had. Their city taken, everything taken. They were taken into captivity and the rest. It was as if a city that was in desolate. So they were annihilated completely. Then now remaining the Jews, the Judah and the Reubenites that made up the Jews. Of course, they also gave themselves to sin. They were also defeated and chased out of their land. But they were the ones that the Jews. Now remember, these two tribes made up the Jews. These two tribes, now they are the Jews. So not every Israelite is a Jew. Then, but what actually happened is that they had the promise. Because God promised that through David shall the Messiah come springs forth. That is the Jesus Christ. And that is why you hear so many people call Jesus the Lion of the tribe of the Judah. Jesus is a Jew. Yes, he's a Jew. Or rather, when he tabernacled on earth, he was a Jew. You understand? When he moved on earth, he was a Jew. He came from the Jew. That's why he was called the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So we now see who the Jews are. You're getting it now? And that was why God have to bring them back after so many years of destruction, because God's prophecy must be fulfilled. God's word must not drop on the ground without it fulfilling the purpose to which it was spoken forth. So for God to bring his word to reality, he have to call back these Jews so that a settlement will start, meeting will start, life will start, for the Prince of Peace, the King of Glory, to come forth from that same tribe that he promised. So now you see the difference now. So not every Jew, no, rather, not every Israelite is a Jew, but every Jew is an Israelite. Like I said, Israelite is their father. Jacob, that's Israel. So that 12 sons made up the Israelites. But out of those 12 sons, 2 sons of them made up the Jews. That means the rest 10 are not. So they are not the Jews. So you see, it will not be wrong. They made part of the Gentiles, if you understand the term Gentiles, but that's not why I'm doing this video. So I'm trying to explain this thing now. So what it means now is that every Hebrew, every Israelite is a Hebrew. Every Jew is an Israelite. But every Israelite is not a Jew. I don't know whether I'm making sense now. I don't know why, but for the purpose of shortness of this video, I'm going to stop here. So in case you have further questions, maybe you ask on the comment section. But I'm going to continue this thing. I'm going to make it more elaborate so that you understand, maybe in my next video. I hope you understand this thing clearly now. God bless you.